Just want to hop on here and let you know how I enjoyed my palette of the week. Before getting into that, just giving you an update on what I have on my eyes today. I have on a quad by Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Hollywood Flawless Eye Filter Quad, and this one is in Diva Lights. And so here is the palette. I used all of the shades today. I kind of followed what her diagram, or followed her diagram on the back here. So I used this shade here to put all over the lid, and then I used this on top to give it more of a rosy, kind of mauve-y color, although right now it's kind of not. I don't know that that's the one that's showing through. Then I use these two in the crease, and then also on my upper and lower lash lines. So I really like it. Like, these palettes I think are expensive for what they are, for the 4 shades, but you know, I got it on sale and I'm really enjoying it. I find that Charlotte Tilbury, this is my second palette from her. The shades are really easy to use. They're very blendable. They're pigmented and actually show up. I am going to try like more of the Pillow Talk ones because I want to see if those show up on deeper skin tones. But so far, I really like this one. The other thing that I've been liking is this Stands Out makeup sponge. I've heard several people talk about it, and what drew me to it is that you don't have to wet it. You can, and it's just really like squishy. I used it this morning, so I've got like foundation on it. That's one thing I don't like. I feel like my fingers get dirtier with this than with another sponge, and I think it might be because this sponge doesn't soak up as much product. I don't know, but let me know if you've tried this out and what you think of it. Alright, so let's hop into the palette. This week I have focused on the Nabla Secret Palette. It is one that I had not used before. I've had it in my possession for some time now. I just had not gotten around to using it because I was often using the Nabla Side by Side palette, which is this one here. And here are the shades. I ended up using this one day of the week just to kind of compare formulas. And the formula is great across both of them. When you open the Secret palette, you have that mirror, and then you have your shades here. The palette comes with 15 shades and in 6 different textures. So the textures are satin, fluid metal, velvet, super matte, diamond, and crystal. So across the palette there are different finishes. So it really reminds me of Natasha Denona and how she has different finishes in her palettes. Let me go ahead and like swatch each, like one of each finish or texture. So this shade here is called Aesthetic, and it is said to be a hazel taupe, and it is a satin shade. So it's very smooth when I rub my finger across it, and here is the shade. So like, it can look like a really regular like taupey shade, but it does have that satin finish, which is really, really pretty. Now a super matte, let's go with Mea Culpa, and that's like a deep brown. It's said to be a deep warm brown, so it's described as a super matte. It again is really smooth, running my finger across it, and here is that shade. So you can see there's definitely a difference between the satin and the super matte. But even the super matte has like a tiny bit of a sheen to it. And the color is very deep and rich and shows up on my skin tone, which I appreciate. Now, what about one of the crystals shades? So one of those is Play Hard. This one has a bit more of a grit to it, It's an aqua green duochrome with lime and jade reflex. So here is Play Hard. There is that shade there. Okay, so we have done satin, super matte, crystal. Let's do one of the fluid metals, and one of those is Creation Crown, which is this one here. This is back to being like super smooth as I rub my finger across it. That is really pretty. That is really pretty. That's like rivaling some of my higher end palettes that have shades like this. That one is described as a deep Baroque gold. All right, so we did satin, super matte, crystal, fluid metal. We just have diamond and velvet. So let's see. How about we do Fantasize? I feel like this shade stands out so much in the palette. So this is a diamond finish, very soft. And it is described as a denim with duochrome, warm gold, and scarlet red reflex. So how about, I'm gonna put that in the middle here so I've got some room. So again, a denim with duochrome warm gold and scarlet red reflex. The last texture or finish is the velvet finish, and the only one in this palette that has that finish is the black here, and it's called Nabla, so you know Nabla, I assume. So I'm gonna go ahead. Ooh, it's so soft. Yes, it's definitely feels velvety. I know blacks don't always swatch super well, so let's see. Actually, not bad. So there is the velvet finish. So I want to show you the shades in their like texture groups. So I've swatched here a couple of, or all of the satin finishes. We've got Aesthetic, Romeo, and I Promise. So these are the 3 satin finish or texture shades in the palette. I also wanted to show you the super mattes, and those are this first one. Oh, I'm sorry. This first one here is Julieta, or Juliet, or Julieta. Contigo. Addiction. Not really feeling that shade name, but okay. Mea Culpa and Ghibli. So those are all of the super mattes. I will say I think they perform better on the eye than in a swatch. Next, I've swatched the fluid metals and the velvet. So we have Big Experience, Rosemary, Creation Crown, and Nabla. Nabla is the velvet shade, and these 3, Big Experience, Rosemary, and Creation Crown, are the fluid metal shades. The last 2 textures are diamond and crystal. So the crystal shade is this one here that's called Play Hard, and the diamond shades are Fantasize and Hypersensual. So those are all of the shades, I think. Hopefully I got them all. In the Nabla Secret Palette. I really like this palette. I think the shades are pretty, the finishes are pretty, and I find that, like, I think the formula is really good as well. A lot of the shades are very soft, so I would notice when I went into most of the shades, honestly, except for maybe the diamond and crystal shades. The other shades, there was a bit of kick up, and they're just soft in the pan. I didn't mind it though, like it does result in a little bit of fallout, but for the most part, not really. So I think you could really like this palette if you like a variety of textures and you want like a variety of colors, because you've got this sort of rosy pinky row here, and then you've got some blue and greens here, and then you've got your sort of diamond and champagne shades here. So there's a lot you can do with this palette because of the mixture of textures as well as the mixture of shades. And yeah, like if you don't want to splurge on Natasha Denona, but you do want to try a formula that has different textures, Nabla could be a really good choice for you. Now, this palette is $39 retail price. I believe, usually I get stuff on sale. I was trying to think as I was like swatching and looking at it, would I pay the full $39 for this palette? And I think I would. That turns out to be like $2.60 per shade. And when I look at it that way, it's not that bad, especially given that there are different textures. So I could say like, oh, that's just a matte, but the matte is actually a satin finish or a velvety finish. In order to get that texture experience, maybe I would pay full price, but I would prefer to have a coupon. So that is the Secret Palette. I didn't talk much about the packaging, but really pretty. Various colors on the front with like flowers, very garden. The back has this sort of texture to it, and it also indicates that this is 100% vegan. So if that is something that is really important to you, then this could be a good palette. And as far as I know, Nabla is from Italy, but you can also find their products on Ulta's website. All right, so I'm excited to see what my next palette will be. I have some thoughts, I think. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you next time.